What's going on, guys? So behind me, I've got this Dodge Dakota with a Scat Pack swap. So this has a 392 6.4 liter swap in it with the 8-speed automatic. So if you guys are stopping by for the first time, it's in here. It's got the Holley system in here. We've got Holley accessories on here. We've got also the Holley engine swap kit on here. So we've got our mounts, transmission mount, all sorts of parts, and we're just getting stuff situated. But if you guys stick around for this video, I have a huge announcement for this truck. This truck is no longer going to be just a simple Scat Pack swap. We are going to be turning this thing up to like almost double or almost even triple the horsepower rating that this thing was originally intended. So things are starting to get pretty wild around here, but stick around to the end of the video and I will tell you guys what we just ordered for this thing. And it should be here pretty soon. But we did get a custom drive shaft. So this piece is so nice, you guys. So this is a drive shaft shop, custom drive shaft. I'm really happy and excited to try this. So it's a custom length that I measured out, but you'll see here it has the factory cup on it. On other vehicles in the past, like even on my Dodge Dakota with the Hellcat swap, we ended up running, and this was all that was available at the time, but we ended up running an adapter that goes from that cup to a U-joint, and then the drive shaft goes on from there. That's not my favorite setup that's on this. If you guys know a lot of the issues that we've had on this truck with vibration and stuff like that, it's probably not doing us any favors. So we're gonna end up testing this one out, and if this goes as planned, which it should, then we're gonna end up redesigning the drive shaft for that. And then I know a lot of guys still wanna see this thing go down the track. If that ends up sorting that out, then we can potentially do that. But right now, we've been dealing with vibration issues, and it's not because of the driveline angle, because trust me, I've double, triple checked that, and this one doesn't have any issues with that. It just has to do with that adapter and having this cup on the transmission. So this one alleviates that. It comes with a CV, which is also our slip. So not only that, but this thing is able to, if I can hold it, this goes in and out. So this is also our slip, this CV, which is super trick. It gets rid of a lot of the pieces. I was talking to the boys over at Drive Shaft Shop, but it gets rid of a lot of the play in the system, because when you have one of those slip joints, that actually can have play, and it has to have play by design, and that can lead to your drive shaft doing a jump rope situation, no matter how well balanced it is or how perfect you have your pinion and your driveline angles. Anyways, you'll see it here. Then it comes with this little adapter. So this will go on the back on our 9 1/4. It bolts right up, and then this bolts to that. So let's go ahead, let's throw this thing up and let's see how it looks and how it fits. Okay, well, I had recorded a lot of footage, and once in a while this happens, but I lost weeks worth of footage. So I'm gonna have to explain what I did and how we got to this point. So let me flip this around. And it's kind of going to give away a little bit because I'm recording this after the fact, and then I'm going to kind of revert. I recorded the beginning of this video, and then I recorded the end of the video, and those two files and footage ended up being recorded, but the middle portion where I was doing the majority of the work ended up getting lost. So this is where we're at. Let me show you. So first off, there was a 4-post lift here, and I ended up selling the 4-post lift because we're gonna get a bigger, heavier duty one, and I'm gonna put it here. So there's no longer a 4-post lift here. I'll talk about this in just a second, but I did install the drive shaft that I had just shown you guys, and this thing came out so good, you guys. So check that out. So it bolts right up to our 8-speed, and then it bolts to our solid rear axle there. Everything looks and works beautifully. So there's that. I'll show you guys the inside, but I did mount these fender flares. So these are OEM fender flares. I wanted to get the OEM ones because there's no better fitment than OEM, and the whole truck is getting painted. So we went with these, and then it's got OEM hardware as well. So it's got the factory hardware, factory flares, and I ended up, we got the Power Stop rear brake kits. So we ended up getting brand new, if you guys can see in here, we got brand new Power Stop rotors, and we also went with the Power Stop caliper kit. So they send you out brand new powder coated, and you'll see them red powder coated calipers. You can't really see them behind the steel wheel, but trust me, they are there. So got brand new calipers on the rear, and then I spent a ton of time inside. So the new seats did show up. So we've been gutting the interior. We took out this rubber floor mat deal here. It's kind of just like almost like a tradesman rubber floor mat. So that's out of here. And check these out, you guys. Brand new Corbeau seats with the rails for the Dakota. But I will say the rails did not fit all that well. So I had to do a ton of modifying on the rails to get them to even bolt up to the floor. Because if you try to get the bolts in there, the rails would kind of get jammed up. So I think I have a tiny little bit of tweaking to do still on the passenger side. But ended up doing that. And then I finally got our Challenger center console fitted in here. So I managed to get it mated up to the stock dash. So you can see there, it's anchored into the stock dash. We might have to make a little bit of a filler plate for here. And then, yeah, so this thing is now solid, and I made a bracket, which you'll see is bolted there, and it's bolted to the floor on the Dakota. And now this thing is not going anywhere, you guys. So really happy with how that came out. And then as far as spacing, still gonna get our seat belts. We are doing a complete color change. I'll show you guys some other stuff in a second, but we're completely changing out the interior from this like tan color to black interior. We're also going to be doing power door locks, power window conversion on this. We're doing black carpet, which is what's brand new in that box there. And this was from my Challenger right here, so the one that was involved in the fire. So we're just using it to mock it up. This is either going to get reupholstered because it's got a little bit of spoogats on it. So it's either going to get reupholstered, or we might just end up buying a complete center console that isn't you know, has a little bit of burn marks on it. But anyways, the bracket in there is friggin' phenomenal. So really happy with how that fits, and everything is centered here. And what I was mentioning here is this is where the seatbelt buckle will go to, but since the original stuff is all like this tan color, I don't think we want to put these ones in here, so I'll try to get some black seatbelt buckles to match everything. But yeah, interior's in. These all have to come out so that we can put the carpet in there. But yeah, she's starting to look pretty good in here. The other thing too is I don't want to put the carpet in just yet because we have to change out the complete cab wiring harness. So we do have another Dakota single cab because somebody was selling a complete rolling chassis with the title, but it had all black interior. And not only that, but it had the 01 and up black interior. So it was cheaper for us to just buy that chassis, and then we'll probably end up selling or getting rid of the chassis because it was just more cost effective than going to the junkyard and trying to piece all this stuff. Plus it also had power windows, power door locks, and it has the cab harness that we need. So we'll end up tackling that on the next episode because that's going to be a huge undertaking. Plus there's a bunch of different parts. We're going to completely black out a lot of this stuff. So this headliner doesn't look too bad, so I'm not sure if we'll try. I don't see any burn marks or any weird stuff, so we might just end up painting that rather than reupholstering it. But we'll see what the owner wants to do there. But anyways, this is going to be completely blacked out, and that's our next little project. So lots and lots of stuff to contend with and lots to still get done. But and I'm filming this after the fact, but yeah, there's a lot of stuff. Also, there's going to be a complete massive touch screen that's going in here. It's almost like the size of like a Tesla screen, so that's going to be in there. And I'm not going to put it in just yet because all this has to come out to put the black interior in. So once we put the black interior, the carpet, all the new wiring harness for our power door locks, power windows, all that stuff, then we can start to finalize some of this stuff, and we'll put the screen and infotainment stuff in there as well. So now I'm going to get back to the part that didn't get deleted, and you guys are going to see us installing the front brakes and the wheels and talking about what's going to be powering this thing, because this thing's getting a lot of steam. All right guys, so it's been a few days and some more stuff showed up. So our wheels actually did show up. We do have the rubber for them too, but we got to take them to get mounted. But before I do that, I want to make sure that there's no clearance issues. Since these are a wheel that hasn't really been tested on the Dakota, the owner wanted to really go with these wheels. So we're going to see the bolt pattern, according to online, is the correct bolt pattern. And the offset looks decent, but kind of don't know until you get into it. Also in that box right there, our front power stop, rotors, and I believe calipers and also pads are in that box. So I'm going to go ahead, get the front end done. That way the new calipers are on this and we can test fit the wheels, make sure they clear everything, and hopefully if all goes well, we can get the tires mounted and balanced as well. Okay, so here we go. Brand new calipers, all powder coated red. We've got our Power Stop Extreme pads. These are really, really good. If you guys have never run these, I would highly suggest them. And then we've also got the Power Stop brand new drilled slotted rotors. So we're gonna get this old junk off of here. At some point, probably, I don't know, depending on what we want to do here. This stuff looks pretty crusty, but we'll see what the owner wants to do, whether they want to clean it or whatnot. But I'm gonna go ahead, take this stuff off. Check this out. Somebody heated these brakes so much that the rubber cap on the bleed has turned into goo. But I'm gonna take this off, and then we'll get the new stuff on here. Same with the other side, and then we can hang our wheels, see how she looks. All right, so brakes are on both sides. I just finished up this side. So right now I'm just gonna put the stock wheel on this side, and then I'll show you guys what the other wheel looks like on the other side. Okay, so check it out, guys. So we've got these wheels on here. They're pretty cool wheel. So if you guys are Dakota owners, you'll know that they do have a very unique 6 bolt pattern. They share it with the Dodge Viper, but there really isn't a ton of aftermarket out there. So we found these wheels, and they are an AMG wheel, but they actually surprisingly have the same bolt pattern as Dakota. But we did pick them up, and I haven't seen anybody running these wheels. But one of the things that I'm noticing is that the hub bore on the wheel is smaller in diameter than the Dakota. So in order to run these wheels, I guess a few things are going to have to occur. My choice 100% off the bat would be to bring this to a machine shop and get them to cut the bore of the wheel to match the Dakota bore size, and that would be that. One other option that some guys may say you can do is run a spacer. So if you ran, you can see there, maybe like a 1/2 inch spacer, you could probably bolt that up. So if you ran a flat spacer enough to get past that bore, then you could bolt the wheel on, but you would potentially and probably run into vibration issues because the wheel wouldn't be center board on the hub. So anyways, that's what that looks like. There's not really a point in throwing the back one on there. It's gonna look the same, but we do have our nice brakes on there. You'll also notice this box. So we've got a brand new black carpet to go in here. So we accomplished quite a bit on this episode. We've got the seats, center console, and we've got our bracket for our center console. So that's in place. And also we've got a ton of work ahead of us, you guys. All this interior is getting completely changed out. All black interior, power windows, power locks. Gonna have a black dash. We're gonna change everything in here. So we're gonna do the headliner. All this stuff is gonna be black, so it's gonna be completely blacked out interior. But wait, like I feel like it's a game show. I feel like this is some sort of game show, but wait, there's more. Yes, there is a lot more. So this arrived, you guys. This pallet showed up, and there is a stupid amount of horsepower on this pallet right now. So this is a 3-liter Gen 5 Whipple kit and a 426 HEMI stroker kit for that little tiny Dakota. So this thing is going to be a serious unit, you guys. This thing is going to be an absolute party. So definitely, if you guys are into Dakotas, you're into MOPAR, you're into HEMI, Gen 3 HEMI, superchargers, pretty much anything. If you guys are a gearhead, this thing is going to be insane. So we're gonna be next, or pretty soon, once I button up the interior, I wanna finish up the interior and try to do as much cosmetic stuff. Then what I wanna do is get the Gen 5 Whipple out of that box, and we are going to start to bolt it up because I have to see what kind of clearancing we more than likely need to do for that. You can notice that the engine comes behind this cowl, and that Gen 5 is gonna sit up pretty high. So we're probably gonna have to get into the, I don't wanna really call this a firewall because the firewall's kind of starts back here, but this like rain channel gutter, probably have to get into that and reconstruct that. And I wanna get that done before we pull the motor. That way, while the motor is out getting the 426 stroker, we can get in there, clean up everything, box all that in. And that way, when the motor's done, goes back in, we can have the engine bay all painted, because this car, or this truck, I should say, is getting a complete color change as well. And we don't want to be stuck with this grape color inside the engine bay. So tons and tons of work ahead of us, you guys, but that is what the plan is. So this thing went from a Scat Pack Dakota to a 426 blown HEMI Dakota. So things are changing drastically. You don't want to miss it. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you give it a thumbs up. It helps support the channel. It's free. Smash the thumbs up button. It'll help to share this content with other people on YouTube. And if you guys are just stopping by, check out the rest of the channel so you can get caught up to speed on this. We've got this burnt Challenger Hellcat that we are rebuilding. We've also got the Hellcat Dakota, Hellcat Ram, and lots of other stuff. And if you need any help with swaps or anything like that, go head over to Shop Boosted. We've got merch over there. We've got shirts, t-shirts, all sorts of stuff. We got some parts. So go check out Shop Boosted. We're adding new products weekly. So thanks for watching, guys, and we'll catch you guys on the next video.